Hi, this is Professor Quine. I'm recording this webinar on February 28th of 2018. And as you can see, I'm recording it for my Ring 91, Ring 92, and English 101 students. This is the ePortfolio webinar. Actually, it's ePortfolio Webinar 1. There will be at least 2 webinars about the ePortfolio assignment that each of your classes has to complete by the end of the semester. I have a screen up on the laptop here that compares all 3 classes in terms of what the ePortfolio will need to include. So let's go over that first before we start talking about the basic requirements for setting up an ePortfolio. If you are in Ring 91 right now, what your ePortfolio will need to include are these things. A welcome message, and that welcome message will be on your ePortfolio's homepage, and we'll look at one of those either in this webinar or in webinar 2. You'll have to include your reflective letter, and I've already posted that assignment on the course site. Your ePortfolio should include your paragraph 1, all polished up and ready to grade, but that's only if I've already looked at the draft, right? You don't put it in the ePortfolio if the draft hasn't been reviewed first. Paragraph 2 should also be in the ePortfolio in polished form, ready to grade if I have already reviewed the draft. And then, of course, the short essay should also be in the ePortfolio, all polished up and ready to grade if I have reviewed the draft first, right? There we go. I forgot to type that in. Alrighty. Those are the things Ring 91ers you will have in your ePortfolio. I should not see any exercises, notes, rough drafts, outlines, anything like that. These are the things that I should see in your ePortfolio. Okay, Ring 92. Here are the things that you should have in your ePortfolio. Now, let me stop and say that if I should reuse this webinar in a future semester, whether you're a 91, 92, or 101, you need to hear this. If I reuse this webinar in a future semester, there could be certain differences in your ePortfolio requirements, so I will let you know what those are. I always put everything in writing, but remember, you're responsible for knowing that, okay, and for having read about any changes that I have made. But generally, these things stay pretty much the same. Okay, for Ring 92, these are the things that will be in your ePortfolio, and I'm mindful as I say that. I perhaps taught some of you in a Ring 91 class, and so you would have already created an ePortfolio. I will mention that. I will talk more about that in a few minutes, you know, what to do in those situations. But let's just talk for a moment about what Ring 92 should have in the ePortfolio for Ring 92. You should have a welcome message on your homepage. You should have your reflective letter. You should have your essay 1 all polished up and ready to grade. If I reviewed that essay in draft form already, if I haven't reviewed that, and you know there were deadlines established for all of those reviews, if I haven't reviewed your essay 1 by before this submission, you know, by whatever deadlines I established, you can't put your polished essay 1 in the ePortfolio for grading. Essay 2, generally Essay 2 is a timed writing in most of my classes. If you passed Essay 2, meaning you got a score of 70 or above on Essay 2, you should, you know, clean up the really obvious errors, polish it up, and put it in your ePortfolio. It's already been graded, but you always want your ePortfolio to look as good as possible, right? If you got below 70% on Essay 2, you need to correct your errors, right? And then put it in your ePortfolio, and I will regrade it then, okay? And remember, revision, you only revise once, and you get, when I look at your revision, you can get a grade up to 70%. Essay 3 generally is everybody, if you've done this and if I've already reviewed the draft by the deadline that I established, you can put, clean it all up, polish it all up, put it in the ePortfolio, and I will grade it then. Okay. And then essay 4, like essay 2, was usually a timed writing in my classes. And what you want to do if you got above a 70%, 70 or better, polish it up and put the ePortfolio. If you got below 70%, you needed to revise that, right, and put it in the ePortfolio, and I'll look at it again then. English 101, you're pretty much the same as Ring 92 in terms of those requirements. The welcome message, the reflective letter, the same rules for Essay 1, Essay 2, Essay 3, Essay 4. Okay, so you pretty much fall into line with all of that. Now let's look at these questions I've written down here. The first one, what if you created an ePortfolio for Professor Quine in a preceding class? What do you do in that situation? What if you, for instance, had me for 91 and you're now in 92, or you had me for 92 and you're now in English 101? How do you handle that? Do you have to create a brand new portfolio, or can you use the old one? And what do you do in that situation to update the ePortfolio? Well, here's the answer. You may use the ePortfolio again, whichever one you created before. You can use it again if you're happy with it. Simply add the new material to the ePortfolio. So if you were in 91 and you created an ePortfolio, it would have all of this stuff. So now you're going to have to add the essays if you're in 92, right? If you had me for 92 and you're now in English 101, you would be using your 92 ePortfolio, so you would have had all of this stuff, and now you're going to add your English 101 essays, right? So I say here, remember you need to update your welcome message and your reflective letter. So, let's say you had me for 92 and you're in English 101. You want to go back and look at that reflective letter, and you're going to have to update it because you were writing that reflective letter as a 92 student. Now you've also completed 101, so you probably want to make reference to having done both of those classes in the letter, right? So and the information in the other paragraphs, look at that to see if it needs updating too. Okay, another thing, you'll probably find that you will also need to update your sidebar links, the links on the side of the page where the reader clicks and lands on your essays or your paragraphs if you're in 91. For example, Essay 1 in Ring 92, if you were in my Ring 92 class, will need to be retitled something like R92 Essay 1. And Essay 1 and ENG 101 will need to be titled English 101 Essay 1. Why? Because you're going to have two Essay 1s in there if you've taken me for both 91 and 92. 92 and 101. So, how are you going to distinguish those two essays? Well, one will have to be called Ring 92 Essay 1 and the other English 101 Essay 1. The same sort of thing if you were, to a certain degree, if you were in my 91 and then you took my 92, although I don't think it's going to be that, hard in terms of the paragraphs. You don't have to write the paragraphs for 92 and 101. So if I see a paragraph enclosed in the ePortfolio, I'm going to know that you were a Ring 91 student, but the essay, when Ring 91 had to do an essay, and then 92 is all about essays, and so is English 101. So you could want to, entitle that short essay on your sidebar as R91 Essay 1, and then your Ring 92 essay is R92 Essay 1. And if you're in my English 101, if you just completed English 101, call that your English 101 Essay 1. So you'll get a better grip on all of that once we get over to the ePortfolio and you start looking at it. If it still confuses you, just come and see me and we'll walk it through. What if you did not submit a paragraph or an essay? Remember, I keep saying, you can put these things in your ePortfolio. If I reviewed whatever it is, your paragraph or your essay or whatever, by the deadline, the draft, by the deadline I established, then you can put it in your ePortfolio. So what if you didn't do that? Well, you should create a sidebar link to the essay. When the reader clicks on the link, he or she should land on a page that says, "My apologies for not being able to include this writing in the ePortfolio." You don't ever want to just pretend like the essay wasn't assigned. It was assigned, but for whatever reason, you were unable to submit it as directed, and so you want to, just kind of acknowledge that it's not there. Okay, it's a nice way of doing it. What if Professor Klein canceled a paragraph or an essay? Sometimes I do that if I see that we've got enough writing practice in, and we just need some time to finish things up. If I think we can handle that, I will sometimes cancel, for instance, the last essay in a class or something like that. I say here, you should create a sidebar link to the essay. When the reader clicks on the link, he or she should land on a page that says, "Professor Klein canceled this assignment so that students could have more time to complete other assignments." All right. So again, you don't want to pretend like it didn't happen. You want to acknowledge that, this is, or let the reader, or remind the reader why it's not in there. Okay. All right, so I think that handles everything. It should answer most of your questions, all the what if questions. So let's start talking about how you're going to create this ePortfolio. On your course site's modules page at the very top, I think, there is a folder entitled Useful Links. And in that folder, there is a link to something called Our Campus. And I have in parentheses, I believe, next to that link, a short explanation that that's where we will be going to create your ePortfolio. This is, we're in a course that has free resources, right? This is a Z course that you're taking. So you do not have to pay for Our Campus. If you're given a certain amount of space on Our Campus for free. If you ever at some point really want to extend your ePortfolio for professional purposes or whatever, I think that they will give you more space for a fee, or I think that that's how it works. But I do not require that. It's a free resource as far as I'm concerned. We only need a little bit of space on it, okay? So let's go over to Our Campus. And here it is. It's www.ourcampus.com. So if for any reason, our course site, you can't get into our course site and click on the link to Our Campus, you can go to Our Campus directly. Make sure you write down that address, okay? www.ourcampus.com. And here we are. Up here is where you log in. What you need to do first, though, if you haven't had me for a class before where you had to do an ePortfolio, is you need to create an account. And I believe, let me go ahead and log out. Okay, so I'm going to go in. Hold on. Let me go ahead and, yeah, there's my login. I think that the area that you go to create an account is generally right up here. Let me open a new window and see. Got my cap lock on. Okay. Here we go. Now there's my login already there. But for new people, who need to get started with Our Campus, you click on Sign Up, just like I just did. Keep Student Learner highlighted there, and then go ahead and click on Continue. And then you go over here and they ask you to create a username, put in your email address, create a password. If I were you, I would use the same username and password I'm using for Canvas, or at least one that you use often. Maybe your email password or something, one that comes readily to mind. Now remember, once you choose a username and a password, I don't know it anymore. And so you need to write these things down. I've had many students forget their username and their passwords, and they had to go create an entirely new ePortfolio. You don't want to have to do that at the last minute. So make sure you're making note of all of this. Okay, then they're going to ask you to accept the terms of use, and then you go to another page, and they ask you, I think they ask you who referred you to the site, and you can just write my name in there. But it's not too many questions, and it's pretty easy to get into, to create your account. So again, make sure that you're writing down your username and password. Okay, so I'm going to log back in. And once you log in, you want to obviously create an ePortfolio. How do you do that? Well, do you see this menu up here? Look at this option where it says ePortfolios. I'm going to click and I get a drop-down list. And they give me different options. And one of the options is the option to build one. We're going to choose that. And we land on this page that's called the Create Your ePortfolio page. What you want to do is to create an ePortfolio title, and I'm going to give you the formula for this, okay? What you want to do is put your name in there with an apostrophe S and ePortfolio. So let's say I'm Sue Smith. Okay, so you see what I just did? I put my name in there, apostrophe S, right? Because it's showing possession. Whose ePortfolio? Sue Smith's. And then the word ePortfolio. And look at how I capitalize there, small e, capital P, right? Make sure you spell everything correctly, all right? If you want to, you can put in, Sue Smith's writing ePortfolio. Now I'm misspelling things. There we go. Or you can put in Sue Smith's ENG 101. You can do that, but I advocate for just keeping it simple and writing your name apostrophe S ePortfolio. Do not feel the need to write a description. There's no need for it. And please do not put an access code because you'll lock all of us out there. So keep this box blank, and let's go click Save. And once you've done that, you will land on a page that says, congratulations, you've done it right, et cetera, et cetera. What do you want to do next? Do you want to build your home page? Do you want to select a skin? Do you want to build menus? I think you should go and select a skin. So let's go select a skin. So what does that mean to select a skin? Well, that's their way of saying select your colors. Now, pause for a second and consider this. Maybe you like really, really bright colors. Maybe you like yellow and orange and blue and, those kinds of colors. That's great. Those are nice colors. But keep in mind that on a computer screen, certain colors can really hurt the eyes. And your goal is not to make yourself happy with this, I'm sorry to say, but it's to make the reader want to read your ePortfolio. Okay, that's your big goal. So you want to make sure that as many readers as possible are really comfortable with looking at the ePortfolio. So be careful with the colors that you choose, and keep in mind not all of us have great vision. And again, you're looking at a computer screen, so that alone kind of toys with the eyesight. So I would suggest, using a light background and a dark font. That usually works pretty well, that contrast in colors. But what you want to do, just go in and click on these different choices. Here's bamboo, and bamboo has basically a green color. Here's binary. I would say binary is a little hard to read. I don't know about you, but binary is light on light, and that can be pretty hard to read. Let's go to blue. That's not much better. Let's go to, what's this one? Colors. Not much better. Let's try lime. Oh, geez. Now see, there's just a little bit of lime, that edging. It's still, I don't think it's still that easy to read. That's not either. That's orange. That's pink. This one isn't too bad. That's getting a little better. This I think is much easier. The print I don't think is great, but it's easier. Okay, there's more of a contrast there. Here's blue. That's much, much easier, I think. Let's see what orange looks like. Now, orange in this version, this template, which is called Clean, is much better than the orange in Bubble SQ. So what you want to do, long story short, is just keep clicking on these and looking to see what you think will be easiest for the reader to read. And then once you choose one, if I were you, I would show it around to see if people are, if they find it easy to read. Don't just go by your own judgment. Show it around and kind of get a vote on it to see, what your readership is thinking. And so I'm going to go with cool for a second. I'm going to show, and just simply because I think it's pretty good. And I want to show you how to apply the skin, which is as simple as clicking on a button that says apply skin. And that basically means you've chosen your skin. You can always change it if you want to, okay? All right, so then you're going to end up on a page like this. And this is where you first get the sense of whether things are working for you or not. And I can tell you already I'm having a problem. Remember, I'm Sue Smith, and this is my ePortfolio. And that should come out really, you want it to be very clear, right? Who you are, you're announcing your ePortfolio, but look at what just happened. The blue ink is fading into the blue background. That's not good. That's not good at all. So let's go ahead. Let's see if we can edit that. And I'm going to click on Edit Header. Let's see if that'll take me there. And it did. Look, there's Sue Smith right there. So what can I do about this? Well, I think that maybe making that a black font. So I'm going to highlight that. And I'm going to go and try to find, and notice that these things are really small. Let's see. Do you see the T there? That's text color. Let's go ahead and click on that. And I'm going to choose black. And I'm even going to bold it to see if I can really make it stand out. Okay? Now, don't forget that you have to hit save. And look how much better that is. Look at how much better that is. That's great. That's much better. I don't think anybody would miss that. So that's pretty much the way editing works. You find your little editing balloon and click on it and you go and fix it. Let's do a little more editing. I will tell you that at the top of your ePortfolio, you don't need all of these selections. And I can also tell you on the side of your ePortfolio, these are the side links. These are not the right selections. So let's clean this up now. I'm going to click on Edit Menus. And I'm going to choose the top menu. Anything that is checked shows up. Anything that is unchecked does not show up. Well, we don't need Classroom, eCommunities. Maybe you could do ePortfolios if you want to. That's up to you. Matrices and rubrics, you don't need that. So we're going to go ahead and keep Home. We're going to uncheck Classroom. We're going to uncheck eCommunities. We can get rid of matrices, we can get rid of rubrics, and so we've done all of that. Now watch what happens to this top menu once I click Save. Wait a minute, there we go. Do you see? Look, now we only have Home. We have eCommunities and ePortfolio. Something went wrong there. Let me go back and see if I forgot to unclick eCommunities. I did. I forgot to do it. So let me unclick it. And then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to click Save. And it's gone. Great. So now I just have this. And, really you don't even need this, the ePortfolios, but it's fine. I'm just doing this for demonstration. Okay, now I'm going to click the sidebar. Click Side Menu. And this is where you're going to set up your links to, where do we go here? Here we go. To whatever it is you have to put into your ePortfolio for your class, okay? So I'm going to pretend that I'm a RENG 92 student. I'm going to choose the middle here, okay? So I know I have to have a welcome message on my home page. I have to have a reflective letter, SA1, SA2, SA3, and SA4. Let me go back over here. Let me show you how to do this. Okay, what you see in this middle column under selected menu options is what is over there in the navigation bar. Most of this stuff we do not need. We don't need this, 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 and this, right? We want to keep ePortfolio home because remember I said the welcome message would be on that page. So how do we get rid of it? Well, you click on whatever it is you don't want, and then you click on the arrow that puts it into the unused menu option. So watch what happens. I'm going to move the statement of purpose over. Ready? I'm clicking on statement of purpose, clicking on the left green arrow, and it's gone. Clicking on profile, left green arrow, it's gone. So on and so forth. Do you see? I'm cleaning it all out. as far as I can go here to the orange bar. What's under the orange bar I don't care about, just leave it there. Okay, so now that's all cleaned up. So how do I go about making those other menu items, right? The reflective letter, so on and so forth. Would you see where it says custom page? You want to pull those over. So we need what? We need reflective letter. We need, and I'm pretending to be a Ring 92 student, right? So if you're a 91 or if you're in 101, well, 101 is pretty much the same. But if you're a 91, make, you know, your changes accordingly. You're not doing essay 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You're doing paragraph 1, paragraph 2, short essay, right? Okay, so I'm going to, so for 92, I need a reflective letter and then those 4 essays, correct? So that's 5 links I need to create. Okay, so I'm going to pull over 5 of these. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so they're not going to be called custom page. How do I change that? Well, I'm going to click on that first custom page and then come over here to the right side where it says menu settings. Do you see right under custom label? It says custom page. Let's change that. What is my first link going to be? The reflective letter, right? Then I'm going to click change label and it changed. What's my second link going to be? Essay 1. Change label. Next link, essay 2. Change label. Next one, whoops, essay 3. Change label. And the last one, essay 4. And change label. All right, now that's fine, but here's the problem. I don't want them down here under, you know, about me. I want them under ePortfolio Home. So how do I change that? I click on the first one, reflective letter, and then I move it up using this arrow. Whoops, it went too far, so I move it down 1. There we go. Let's do the same thing with essay 1. I'm going to put it under reflective letter. Same thing for essay 2. Same thing for essay 3. And same thing for essay 4. Whoops, too far, move it down. Now, that's good for Ring 92 and for English 101. Again, Ring 91ers, what you're going to have created is, you know, you have your ePortfolio Home and then the reflective letter, and then you're going to have paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and short essay, right? Okay. Now, don't forget that this isn't going to change until you click Save All Changes. So let's do that and let's see what happens. And there you go. It changed. Do you see that? Okay, let's click on ePortfolio Home. This is where your welcome message is going to be. The first thing I want to make very clear, no matter if you're a 91, 92, English 101, I don't care which class you're in, you are not allowed in my classes to use sliding tiles. Do you see these sliding tiles down here? You are not allowed to use them. You are not allowed to use them. Do you understand? There is nothing that can fail. Did you hear me? Fail, 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 fail. An ePortfolio faster than using sliding tiles because I hate them that much. Got it? No sliding tiles. So how do you get rid of them? Well, I'm on my ePortfolio Home and I really want to create my welcome message. So click on ePortfolio Home and then click on Edit Page right here. Do you see that it says Activate Tiles here and it's checked right next to it? Click there, get rid of that check mark. And it throws you out and look what happens. The tiles are gone. Good for you. Now you want to go back in there, click on Edit Page again and tell it you want to edit your content. And you're going to get a little pop-up menu, a pop-up form like this. It looks sort of like a word menu. And this is where you're going to type your welcome message, okay? So maybe up here you could do welcome and to my ePortfolio. Then you're going to go on from there. I'm going to show you when I do ePortfolio to a really nice welcome message from a sample student ePortfolio that also has a graphic in it, which I really want you to put in. I want you to use a graphic, so I'll show you how to put one in there. But anyway, for now, this is just the beginning draft of a welcome message. This is not good enough. This is not a complete welcome message, all right? So don't think that I'm saying that. I'm just showing you how to type this up. Now, let's say we're looking at this and we're thinking, I want this darker. I want this to be bigger. I want this to be brighter. Okay, maybe you want to use bold print. Maybe you want to change the size. Now, they don't give you the numbers. You just kind of have to eyeball it. So go to medium. That made it bigger, right? And then let's see what kind of format do you want to use? A heading that size or heading that size? You know, you can play with all of that. What style do you want to use? A banner? Do you want to use a title style? You know, you can play with all of that and decide, and then show it to your readership and ask them what they think, okay? So let's go ahead and save this and let's see what that looks like. Okay, so already I see that there's a problem because I don't see the word welcome popping up here. And this is in pink. Why is that in pink? Let's go back and look. I'm going to edit my page again, go into edit content. Yeah, it came out pink. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe that's just the default. We have to go look. Let's go find the color. Here's the font, the text color right there where the T is. Let's click on the black font and see if that changes. And for some reason that welcome didn't show up, so let's type it again right here. And then it looks like this converted back to that color. I'm hoping we can change it. It could become maybe it's just a default color for, I lost the font. Let's do that. Maybe it's just a default color for this template. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think maybe it is. Maybe that's the color that they've chosen for this template. Is this color and the blue. It's not bad. It shows up. I would prefer it to be in black for my, for my eyes, but it's not a bad color. I think that, maybe a larger font would have worked. Okay, so you'd have to go in and toy with that font a little bit the way I just showed you. But there you go. You've already gotten rid of tiles and you've begun typing into this ePortfolio. Let's click on reflective letter. This is where your reflective letter is going to go. Now, let me tell you, I do not want you just giving me a link to your reflective letter. I want you to type it in here, or I want you to copy and paste your reflective letter in here if you did it in Word already, okay? So don't just, have me click on reflective letter and then you've given me a link to the reflective letter. Why do I not want you to do that? Because sometimes students embed links incorrectly and I click on it and the link and it goes nowhere. And so you get no points, right? So it's always better if you copy and paste your reflective letter in, or if you simply just type into this. Okay, so remember, the first thing you want to do is to get rid of these tiles. So let's click on edit page. And so I'm going to pause for a second and let you think. What did I tell you? How did I tell you to get rid of the tiles? Okay, so if you remember that you go over here and you unclick this, unselect, deselect that, you get rid of the tiles. Now you have to go back in by editing the page and edit the content, right? And so here you'll, do your reflective letter here, you'll have to look at the font and see if it's the kind, Times New Roman, what size. This is small, this is medium, this is large. You've got to eyeball it. They don't, our campus does not give you the font size. They just kind of give you a description. I would say medium usually works. What format do you want? That's usually okay. It's already preset. Those things are okay. But one thing we found out that sometimes with this template, using the bold print sometimes helps to kind of make a distinction between the background and the print. It makes it a little crisper. So try that and see if it works. But anyway, what you're going to find too, and let me give you fair warning, our campus does not have the same features that Word has in terms of setting the spacing and things like that. So you have to do a lot of hand inserting, manual inserting. So in other words, let's say you come here and you're copying and pasting into our campus, you know, your reflective letter, you're going to find that it just all squishes together. So you're going to have to go in and let's say this is the end of a paragraph and you're going to have to hit the enter key to make a space between the paragraphs. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of manual formatting that you're going to have to do with our campus, all right, so that your work looks nice. All righty. One other thing, and this is a good place and time to mention it. Our campus gets a little finicky with certain browsers, and I'm in Microsoft Edge right now. If I remember correctly, our campus does not do well. I think it's with Internet Explorer. I've had students write to me in an utter panic because they would pull up their ePortfolio and not be able to type anything into it. And I would tell them, just switch your browser, try Mozilla Foxfire, try Google Chrome, try another browser, and almost immediately the problem cleared up. So before you panic, try another browser. And then if that doesn't work, try another computer, okay? This means that you have to work in a timely fashion. Do not wait until you're up against the deadline to do this project, okay? You've got to give yourself some time in case one of those little technical problems happens so that you can seek help, you can resolve the issue, okay? So that being said, I'm going to leave that to you because you know that technology glitches aren't any reason to request an extension, right? So make sure you're allowing yourself enough time. If you don't know how to download a browser, I can help you, but you know, you and I perhaps have different schedules and maybe you can't wait to see me. So, you know, go to the Open Computer Lab and ask for help. Even the e-learning office would be more than happy to help you, and they're over in Harper Hall, okay? All right, so let's pretend like my reflective letter is done. So I'm going to click on that. All right, and then you're going to do the same sort of thing for your essay one, so on and so forth. Get rid of those tiles, yada yada. Type in, type your. I don't think you're going to want to be typing your entire essay into this. I think you're going to be copying and pasting. Now, there is something that sometimes happens with a copy and paste. Let me see this, if I can do this. Wait a minute. I'm hoping that it'll happen now so that I can demonstrate for you. Okay, let me get rid of those tiles. And they're gone. Now I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to edit my content. Let me see what happens when I try to copy and paste. Oh, it did it. No, hold on for a second. Let me see. Do I have... No, I don't have my other browser up right now. I'll tell you what happens sometimes when you try to copy and paste. You get another pop-up that says you can't do that. You need to press Control and I think it's V, and then it will let you do it. So just don't panic. Read the prompt. Read the direction that comes up, okay? Follow the direction and it should work for you. If it doesn't work for you, I know that you just listened to me say that you shouldn't be working so close to the assignment due date that you don't have enough time to seek help, right? I'm sure that you've given yourself enough time to go seek help, resolve the issue, and get this ePortfolio finished up, right? Right. Okay. So anyway, you know, you just copy and paste into here your essay one, you clean it up, you know, if it kind of merged together and you can't see the separate paragraphs and stuff, you go and you insert them with your enter key. If for some reason the first line indentation of a paragraph, you know, kind of just isn't there, what you can do is, let me see if this works. Hold on for a second. Let's pretend like this is your first line of a paragraph. Let me see what happens if I click on this. Nothing. Okay, so for this, what you're going to have to do is hit the space bar, right? Wait a minute. This isn't Word, so we can go ahead and count 5 times and you've got it. I don't want you doing that when you do a Word document, though, okay? So let's say this is your second paragraph. Now, we want spacing here, right? So I don't think they give you paragraph spacing. I don't see it. What's style say? No. What's this say? What is that? Image, text and table. No, that's something else. So you're going to have to go in, right, and do this. I'm hitting the enter key. So do the best you can with that, all right? Try to make it look good. And then for this, this is another reason you don't want to wait to the last minute to try this assignment out, right? You want to get on this as soon as you can. Alrighty, so that's the way you do all of that. Don't forget, once you've done it, to click save. And by the way, I have students who will say to me, and look, this is already messed up. Hold on, it's split funny. That's going to be a challenge. There's another reason you want to save time and, you know, make your time, use your time well, is what I'm trying to say. So you have to go back in and fix that. I'm going to see if there's an easier way to do this, but I don't think so. Hopefully when you copy and paste it in, the spacing will be there. Alrighty. Alrighty. Okay, what I was going to say was, I have students who will say to me, well, I didn't know you wanted me to, you know, put the works cited there. I didn't know you wanted me to put the top of page formatting, you know, my name, your name, etc., etc. Yeah, that's MLA format. Sure. I mean, to show me that you know how to document, you need to show me that you know how to document, right? You need to keep that in-text documentation. You need to put your works cited in here. And how will you do that? It'll just be the, you know, like this at the end, and click there. I think they do have a center. Here's center right here for works cited. Turn off center, pull it back over, and then your works cited entries. And you know, keep your in-text documentation in here. Keep your top of the page formatting, your name, my name, etc., etc. Give me your title. That's all MLA formatting. And also go back to the assignment and see if you needed to use a vocabulary word from our list and a certain kind of sentence. Now, I do not believe that our campus is allowing for highlighting, but you can change the color of a word to highlight it, okay? So let's say simply is one of your vocabulary words. All you would have to do is highlight it and go and choose another color. And so that kind of jumps out at me and shows me that, oh, there's the vocabulary word the student is using. Let's say this is your, I don't know, your whatever sentence. You know, if I asked you to do a compound, complex, whatever, you would do this, and this would show me that you are highlighting this sentence to indicate that you've complied with the direction to highlight whatever kind of sentence that I asked you to do. Because remember, if you go back to the assignment, there are penalties for not doing these things. So you want to avoid those penalties. If something comes out and it's not documented, it's an automatic 0. So, you know, if I need to see the in-text documentation, I need to see the works cited documentation. If you look at the rubric that's used to grade the essay, it says that if something isn't documented correctly, it's a 0. If something doesn't comply with the directions, it's a 0. You're even graded for format, so you don't want to leave off titles or have your title not capitalized correctly. If you're still not clear on that, please remember to go watch the title capitalization webinar. You don't want to forget to put your name, my name, all that other good stuff in the upper left-hand corner. You just don't want to forget. This is where you show me that you are a different, I say a different person, but you understand what I mean, a different writer than the writer who walked in at the beginning of the semester, that you learned something, not just learned it, you mastered it, and that you can show it off here, okay? So this is where you prove that you're ready to go to the next class. Don't give me anything to criticize, okay? Alrighty, so there you go. There's a, you know, a rough example of how to do that. And I think that, hold on for a second while that saves. So we've gone over how to create the space for your ePortfolio, how to give your ePortfolio a header. Sue Smith's ePortfolio is the example. How to clean up that top menu, how to create your side menu, how to get rid of sliding tiles. What else? How to get in there and change font color and all of that other stuff. gone over some of the essentials here of a format for the essays, what's expected. I think that's it for right now. This gets you started, and you need to get started with this, okay? And then the next webinar will be one where I go into a student's ePortfolio, and I show you what that student wrote for her welcome message and how she embedded a graphic into the welcome message. And I'm also going to show you what you need to do in order to get the active ePortfolio link to me, okay? So there you go. I'm going to wrap this up now. I hope you found this interesting as well as informative, and I will see you in the next webinar. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.